Is my married female friend secretly in love with me? I'm Maya, 28 years old, and I never thought I'd be the kind of person writing this. But here I am sitting in my apartment at 2 in the morning, unable to sleep because my entire world just got flipped upside down. It started 3 months ago. Well, actually, it started 2 years ago when I met Amber at a marketing conference in Chicago. But 3 months ago is when things got weird. Amber was this bubbly, confident woman with auburn hair and this infectious laugh that made everyone in a room turn to look at her. We clicked immediately over terrible conference coffee and bonded over our shared hatred of corporate buzzwords. She was married to this guy named Derek. Seemed happy. Showed me pictures of their golden retriever. Normal stuff. We stayed in touch after the conference. Texted occasionally. Met up whenever I was in Chicago for work. It was easy friendship. You know, the kind where you can pick up right where you left off even if months have passed. Then I moved to Chicago for a new job. Amber was thrilled. She insisted on helping me apartment hunt. Showed up with wine and pizza on moving day. Introduced me to her whole friend group. Derek seemed nice enough, kind of quiet, worked in finance. They'd been married for 4 years. Everything was normal for the first few months. We'd grab lunch twice a week, hit up yoga classes together, did the whole wine and Netflix thing on Friday nights when Derek worked late. But then I started noticing things. Small things at first. The way she touched my arm when she laughed. How she always wanted to sit next to me even when there were other open seats. The fact that she texted me good morning before she texted Derek. I knew this because she told me once, laughing like it was funny. I didn't think much of it. Some people are just touchy. Some friendships are intense, right? Then came the night that changed everything. It was the Thursday. Amber called me crying, like genuinely sobbing. She said she'd had this huge fight with Derek and could she please come over? Of course I said yes. That's what friends do. She showed up at my door in sweatpants and one of Derek's hoodies. Mascara running down her face, clutching a bottle of wine. We sat on my couch and she told me about the fight. Derek wanted kids. He wasn't sure. He'd brought it up again and things had escalated. We drank the wine. We talked for hours. She calmed down eventually, started laughing at some stupid story I told about my boss. And then she looked at me with these eyes, these intense searching eyes, and said, "You always know how to make me feel better. You're the best thing that's happened to me since moving to Chicago." I laughed it off, told her she was drunk, but she grabbed my hand and said, "I mean it, Maya. You're special." The way she said it made my stomach flip, not in a good way, in a this is weird territory way. I pulled my hand back gently, made some excuse about needing to get water. When I came back from the kitchen, she was lying on my couch, half asleep. I got her a blanket and went to bed in my room, door closed. The next morning she was gone. Left a note thanking me for being there for her, signed with a little heart. A heart. I tried to convince myself I was reading into things. She was my friend, my married friend, who drew hearts on notes and told me I was special while drunk. I should have addressed it then. I should have said something, but I didn't want to make things awkward. I didn't want to lose a friend over nothing. Except it wasn't nothing. Over the next few weeks, things intensified. Amber started showing up at my apartment unannounced. "I was in the neighborhood" became her favorite phrase. Even though she lived on the opposite side of the city, she'd bring coffee or breakfast or just herself, always with some excuse about why she couldn't be home. Derek was working too much. She said their apartment felt empty. He was lonely. I felt bad for her. I really did. So I let her in. We'd watch TV or she'd help me organize my closet or we'd just sit and talk. But there was this energy between us now. This tension I couldn't quite name. She started buying me things. Little things. A candle in my favorite scent. A book she thought I'd like. A sweater she saw that reminded her of me. When I protested, she'd wave me off. Say it was no big deal. Say she just loved spoiling the people she cared about. The people she cared about. Not friends. People she cared about. My other friends started noticing too. I'd brought Amber to a girls' night. And afterwards my friend Jennifer pulled me aside. "Is there something going on with you too?" Jennifer asked, her eyebrows raised. "What? No, we're just friends." I said, "She literally spent the entire night staring at you and she got jealous when you were talking to Brittany about that guy from your gym. You're imagining things." But Jennifer just gave me this look, this knowing look, and said, "If you say so." I couldn't stop thinking about it. Was Amber jealous? I replayed the night in my head. Brittany had been telling me about this cute trainer who'd asked for my number and I'd been excited, laughing about it. And Amber had gotten really quiet. changed the subject, made some comment about gym guys being shallow. I thought she was just being protective. Now I wasn't so sure. The next incident was worse. I'd started seeing the gym guy Marcus. Nothing serious, just a few casual dates. I mentioned it to Amber over lunch, tried to keep it light and casual. Her face fell, like visibly fell. She put down her fork and said, "Oh, that's great. I'm happy for you." He did not sound happy for me. "Are you okay?" I asked. "Fine, just surprised. You didn't mention you were interested in anyone." "Phew. It's not a big deal, right?" "Not a big deal." She picked at her salad for a minute, then looked up at me. "Does he treat you well? Better than you deserve?" "Better than I deserve? What does that mean?" He backtracked immediately. "I just meant you deserve the best. You deserve someone who sees how amazing you are, who appreciates all your little quirks and knows exactly how you take your coffee and remembers the stories you tell." And she stopped abruptly. "Sorry, I'm being weird. I just care about you." The way she said it, the intensity in her voice, the fact that she just described herself, someone who did know all those things about me, I felt sick. After lunch, I sat in my car for 20 minutes trying to process what had just happened. Jennifer was right. Amber wasn't just being a good friend. This was something else, something more. And I had no idea what to do about it. I did what any confused person would do. I avoided her, started making excuses when she wanted to hang out. Said I was busy with work, busy with Marcus, busy with anything that wasn't spending one-on-one time with Amber. She noticed. Of course she noticed. The texts got more frequent, more desperate. Did I do something wrong? "I miss you. Can we please talk?" I felt terrible. She was my friend. She'd been nothing but kind to me. And here I was ghosting her because I couldn't handle whatever feelings she might have. But I also felt trapped. If I addressed it directly, what would I even say? "Hey, I think you have a crush on me and it's making me uncomfortable." What if I was wrong? What if I was just some narcissist who thought everyone was in love with her? Then Marcus broke things off. He was nice about it. Said he wasn't ready for anything serious. The usual stuff. It stung. But honestly, I hadn't been that invested. I made the mistake of posting something vague on Instagram about being single again. Amber called me 30 seconds later. "Are you okay? What happened? Do you need me to come over?" The concern in her voice was real. That was the thing about Amber. Whatever else was going on, she genuinely cared about me. She showed up. She remembered things. She made me feel seen in a way that was both comforting and terrifying. "I'm fine." I said it wasn't serious anyway. "He's an idiot. You're incredible. Anyone would be lucky to be with you." There it was again. That intensity. That's something more than friendship energy. "Thanks, Amber. I should go. I'm exhausted." "Wait, Maya." She paused. "Can I see you this week? I feel like we haven't really connected in forever." I should have said no, but guilt got the better of me. "Sure. Coffee on Wednesday." "Perfect. I'll text you." Wednesday came. I almost canceled 3 times but talked myself out of it. I was being ridiculous. We were going to have coffee in public. Everything would be fine and normal, and I'd realized I'd been overthinking everything, except Amber showed up looking different. She'd gotten her hair done, was wearing makeup, had on this dress I'd never seen before. She looked beautiful, like she was going on a date. Oh no. We ordered our coffees and sat down at a corner table. Amber was nervous, fidgeting with her cup, not meeting my eyes. So I said, trying to keep things light, "What's new with you? How's Derek?" Her face darkened at the mention of his name. "He's fine. We're fine. Actually, we're not fine, but that's not why I wanted to see you." "What's going on?" She took a deep breath. "Maya, I need to tell you something and I need you to just listen, okay? Don't interrupt. Just let me get this out." Every muscle in my body tensed. This was it. This was the conversation I've been dreading. "I've been thinking a lot lately," she continued. "About my life, about what makes me happy, about what I want. And I've realized something important. Please don't say it. Please don't say it. You make me happier than anyone else in my life. When I'm with you, I feel like myself, like the best version of myself. You get me in a way that no one else does. Not even Derek. Especially not Derek. Amber, please just let me finish." She reached across the table and took my hand. "I think about you constantly. I wake up thinking about you. I go to sleep thinking about you. I make excuses to see you. I buy things that remind me of you." Her voice cracked. "I don't know when it happened, but somewhere along the way, you became the most important person in my life." I pulled my hand back. "You're married." "I know. I know I am. And I love Derek. I do. But it's not the same. What I feel for him is comfortable, safe. What I feel for you is, she stopped, tears welling up in her eyes. It's everything. My heart was pounding. Part of me had known this was coming, but hearing it out loud was different. Hearing her actually say the words made it real in a way I wasn't prepared for. I don't know what you want me to say. I told her honestly. I want you to tell me if you feel it too. This connection between us. I see the way you look at me sometimes. The way you smile when I text you. Tell me I'm not imagining this. Remember, you're my friend, my good friend. But that's all. I'm not. I don't feel that way about you or about women in general. The hope in her eyes died. It was like watching a light go out. Oh, she said quietly. I'm sorry. I misread things. I'm so stupid. You're not stupid. Your feelings are valid, but I can't return them. And you're married. You have a whole life with Derek. A life I'm not sure I want anymore. Her. She wiped at her eyes. Being with him feels like a lie now, like I'm pretending to be someone I'm not. Have you talked to him about any of this? How can I? How do I tell my husband that I've fallen for my best friend that I think I might be? She couldn't finish the sentence. We sat in silence for a long moment. The coffee shop buzzed around us. People living their normal lives while mine imploded. I think you need to figure out what you want, I said finally. But you need to do that away from me. This isn't healthy, Amber, for either of us. Are you ending our friendship? I'm saying we need space. You need to work through whatever you're going through, and I need to not be part of that process. She stood up abruptly, grabbing her purse. I understand. I'm sorry I made things weird. I'm sorry I ruined everything, Amber. Wait. But she was already walking out, leaving her untouched coffee on the table. I sat there for another hour, staring at that coffee cup, trying to process what had just happened. My friend was in love with me. My married friend was in love with me, and I just cut her out of my life. I felt awful, but I also felt relieved, like a weight I didn't know I'd been carrying had been lifted. That relief lasted about 3 days. Then Derek called me. Maya, it's Derek, Amber's husband. We met a few times, I remember. Is everything okay? Not really. Amber's been really upset lately. She won't tell me what's wrong, but I know you two had coffee last week. Did something happen? Did you guys have a fight? I had no idea what to say. I couldn't tell him the truth. That wasn't my truth to tell. We just had a misunderstanding, I said carefully. Nothing major. We both just need some space. She's been crying a lot, barely eating. I'm worried about her, Maya. She doesn't have many close friends, and losing you seems to have really affected her. The guilt came crashing back. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. Could you maybe reach out? See if you two can work things out. I hate seeing her like this. I'll think about it, but I didn't reach out. I couldn't. Every time I thought about texting her, I remembered the look in her eyes when she'd held my hand. The way she'd said, it's everything. And I couldn't do it. 2 weeks passed, then 3, then a month. I threw myself into work, started going to therapy to process everything, slowly rebuilt my social life without Amber in it. It hurt, but it was the right thing to do. I was sure of it until I ran into her at the grocery store. She looked terrible. Thinner, dark circles under her eyes, hair pulled back in a messy bun. She was standing in the frozen food aisle, staring blankly at a freezer full of ice cream. Amber, she turned, and for a second her face lit up. Then she remembered everything and the light faded. Hey Maya, are you okay? You look. I know how I look. She grabbed a random pint of ice cream and put it in her cart. I'm fine. Just going through some stuff. Derek called me a few weeks ago. He's worried about you. She laughed bitterly. Of course he is. Derek's always worried about something. Did you tell him? No, that's not my place. Thanks for that at least. She started to push her cart away, then stopped. For what it's worth, I'm seeing a therapist. Trying to figure my life out. Figure myself out. It's good. That's really good, Amber. Yeah. She thinks I've been suppressing my sexuality for years, using my marriage as a cover. Fun times. She said it with zero humor. Anyway, I should go. Take care of yourself, Maya. She walked away before I could respond, leaving me standing in the frozen food aisle, feeling like the worst person in the world. That night, I couldn't stop thinking about her, about the fact that she was struggling, that she was finally confronting something she'd been hiding from herself, and that I'd abandoned her right when she needed support most. But what was I supposed to do? Be her emotional support while she figured out her sexuality. That wasn't fair to either of us, especially not to me. I called Jennifer, told her everything. The confession, the space, the grocery store encounter. That's a lot, Jennifer said when I finished. How are you feeling? Guilty? Confused? I don't know. Is it bad that I miss her? Not in a romantic way, obviously, but I miss my friend, the person she was before everything got complicated. That person is still there. She's just going through something hard. I know, but I can't be part of her journey. Does that make me a bad person? No, babe. It makes you human. You set a boundary. That's healthy. Then why does it feel so terrible? Jennifer didn't have an answer for that. Another month went by, then two. I dated a guy named Tyler for a few weeks, but it fizzled out. Work got busy. Life happened. I thought about Amber less and less, though she still crossed my mind sometimes. Usually late at night when I couldn't sleep. Then on a random Tuesday evening my doorbell rang. It was Derek. He looked rough. Unshaven, wrinkled shirt, exhausted eyes. Derek, what are you doing here? Can I come in, please? I need to talk to you. I let him in, offered him water, which he declined. We sat in my living room and he put his head in his hands. Amber asked for a separation, he said. My stomach dropped. What? Last week. She moved out 3 days ago. She's staying with her sister in Milwaukee. I'm so sorry. I don't know what to say. He looked up at me and there was something in his eyes. Anger? Hurt? Both. He told me everything about you. About how she feels. About the coffee shop? Oh no. Derek, I need to know something, Maya. And I need you to be honest with me. Did you two have an affair? What? No, absolutely not. Nothing physical ever happened between us. Nothing. But she's in love with you. He thinks she is. I don't know. Maybe she is. But I never encouraged it. I never reciprocated. As soon as I realized what was happening, I put distance between us. She said, you broke her heart. That stung. I didn't mean to. I just couldn't give her what she wanted. Derek stood up, started pacing. 7 years. We've been together 7 years. Married for 4. And the whole time she was hiding this. She was lying to me, to herself. I don't think she was lying. I think she didn't know. How do you not know you're attracted to women? How do you marry someone when you're not sure about your own sexuality? I don't have those answers. I'm sorry. He stopped pacing and looked at me. Really? Looked at me. Part of me wants to blame you. It would be easier if I could blame you, but she told me you didn't do anything wrong. That you were just being a friend and she caught feelings and complicated everything. I'm sorry this happened to you, to both of you. Are you going to be with her? Is that what this is? He ends our marriage and runs off with you. No, I'm not interested in her that way. I've told her that something in his expression shifted. Relief maybe? Or just exhaustion. She keeps saying she needs to find herself. Figure out who she really is. Like our entire marriage was just her playing pretend. He sank back down onto my couch. How do I compete with that? How do I fight for someone who's questioning everything about their identity? You can't. And maybe you shouldn't. You think I should just let her go? I think you should let her figure out what she needs. And maybe you need to figure out what you need too. If she's been unhappy, you probably have been too on some level. He was quiet for a long time. Finally, he said, I saw the signs. I just didn't want to believe them. The way she talked about you, the amount of time she spent with you, how happy she was after seeing you and how distant she was at home. I told myself it was just friendship, that I was being paranoid. I'm sorry. Everyone keeps saying that. You're sorry. He's sorry. Her sister is sorry. I'm tired of people being sorry. He stood up again. I should go. I don't even know why I came here. I guess I just needed to see you to understand what was so special about you that my wife would blow up our entire life. Derek, don't just take care of yourself, Maya. He left and I stood in my doorway watching him walk to his car. He sat in the driver's seat for a solid 5 minutes before starting the engine. I wondered if he was crying. I closed the door and leaned against it, feeling the weight of everything that had happened. A marriage was ending. A person I cared about was in pain. Multiple people were in pain and I was somehow at the center of it all, even though I'd done nothing wrong. Right? I spent the next weeks spiraling, questioning everything. Had I somehow led Amber on without realizing it? Had I been too friendly, too available, too much? Was I responsible for the destruction of her marriage? My therapist said no. That people's feelings are their own responsibility. That I'd set appropriate boundaries. That I hadn't done anything wrong. But knowing something intellectually and feeling it emotionally are two very different things. Then Amber texted me. Just one line. Can we please talk? I stared at that message for hours. Jennifer told me to ignore it, that Amber needed to work through her stuff without me. My therapist said the decision was mine to make, but to be clear about my boundaries if I chose to respond. I typed and deleted about 50 different responses before settling on. I'm not sure that's a good idea right now, she replied immediately. Please, I'm not going to make things weird. I just need closure. One conversation, then I'll leave you alone. Closure. Everyone always wants closure. Like it's this magic thing that makes pain go away. Against my better judgment, I agreed. Coffee shop, public place. 1 hour. She showed up looking better than she had at the grocery store. Still thin but healthier somehow, more put together. There was something different in her eyes. Clear maybe. Thank you for meeting me, she said as we sat down. 1 hour, Amber. That's all I can give you. I know, and I respect that. She wrapped her hands around her coffee cup. I've been doing a lot of therapy, a lot of thinking, and I owe you an apology. You don't. Please let me finish. I put you in an impossible position. I developed feelings I didn't know how to handle, and instead of dealing with them myself, I made them your problem. I made you uncomfortable. I probably scared you, and I'm sorry. I felt tears prick my eyes. Thank you for saying that. Derek told me he came to see you. I'm sorry about that too. He had no right. He was hurt. He was looking for answers. Answers I should have given him years ago. She took a sip of her coffee. My therapist thinks I've known I was attracted to women since college, but I couldn't accept it. My family is conservative. My parents would have disowned me, so I buried it. Convinced myself I was straight. Married a good man who loved me. Tried to be normal, Amber. And then I met you. And everything I'd been suppressing just exploded. You weren't the problem, Maya. You were just the catalyst. If it hadn't been you, it would have been someone else eventually. How are you doing? Really, I'm okay. It's hard. The separation is messy. Derek's angry, and he has every right to be. My parents don't understand. My sister's been great though, and therapy is helping. She smiled sadly. I'm learning how to be honest with myself finally. And your feelings for me still there. Probably will be for a while. But I'm working on accepting that you don't feel the same way. That I romanticized our friendship into something it wasn't. That I need to move on. We talked for the full hour about her therapy, her separation, her slow journey toward accepting her sexuality, about my life, which felt boring in comparison, about our friendship and whether it could ever exist again. I don't think we can be friends, I told her honestly. Not right now. Maybe not ever. I'm sorry. I understand. I don't like it, but I understand. She stood up to leave, then turned back. You're an incredible person, Maya. I meant that. Not in a romantic way. Just as a human statement. Don't let anyone make you feel less than amazing. Take care of yourself, Amber. Phew. I watched her walk out of the coffee shop for what I knew was probably the last time. There was finality to it that felt both sad and necessary. A chapter closing. I thought that would be the end of it. Closure achieved. Time to move on. But life has a way of being messier than we want it to be. 3 months later, I was at a bar with Jennifer and some other friends when I saw them. Amber and a woman I didn't recognize, sitting in a corner booth, holding hands across the table, looking at each other the way people look at each other when they're falling in love. Amber looked happy. Really genuinely happy in a way I'd never seen her during our entire friendship. The woman was blonde, tattooed, had this confident energy. They were laughing about something, completely absorbed in each other. Jennifer followed my gaze. Is that, yeah, she looks good. She does. And she did. She looked free, like she'd finally figured out who she was and stopped apologizing for it. Part of me felt happy for her. She'd found herself. She'd found someone. She was living her truth. But there was another part of me, a smaller, pettier part that felt something else. Not jealousy exactly, more like grief, loss, the ghost of a friendship that could have been but never was. Amber glanced up and saw me. Our eyes met across the crowded bar. She smiled, a real smile, not sad or complicated, and raised her glass slightly in acknowledgement. I smiled back and raised my own glass. Then she turned back to her date and I turned back to my friends, and that was it. That was closure. Not some big emotional conversation or dramatic reconciliation. Just two people who'd been important to each other acknowledging that they were both okay, both moving forward, both learning how to be okay with the way things ended. A few weeks later, I heard through mutual acquaintances that Amber's divorce was finalized, that she'd come out to her family, that her parents had reacted exactly as she'd feared, they'd cut her off, but that she'd found a community of people who supported her. I heard she'd moved in with the blonde woman, that they were happy. I was glad, genuinely glad. But I also knew I'd never reach out. Never try to rekindle the friendship. What we had was too tangled up in pain and confusion and feelings that couldn't be reciprocated. Some friendships aren't meant to survive. Some people come into your life to teach you something about yourself, about boundaries, about complexity, and then they leave. Amber taught me that sometimes people's feelings for you aren't your responsibility to manage. That you can care about someone deeply without being able to give them what they want. That ending something doesn't make you a bad person. She also taught me that I needed to be more careful about boundaries, more aware of the signals I was sending, even unintentionally, more willing to have difficult conversations before things spiraled out of control. 6 months after that night in the bar, I started seeing someone, a guy named Connor who I met at a friend's wedding. He was kind and funny and straightforward in a way that felt refreshing after everything with Amber. No hidden feelings, no complicated subtext, just two people who liked each other trying to figure out if they could build something together. I told him about Amber on our third date. The whole story. I figured if it was going to be a deal breaker, better to know early. That sounds intense, he said when I finished. How do you feel about it now? Sad, mostly that a friendship ended, that people got hurt, but also relieved that it's over. Do you think she was actually in love with you, or was it more about what you represented? Freedom, maybe? Permission to be herself? I'd never thought about it that way. Maybe both. Either way, it sounds like you handled it the best you could. You can't control other people's feelings, only your own actions. Connor was right. And sitting there with him, having an honest conversation about complicated things, I realized I was okay. The whole situation with Amber had felt world-ending at the time, but I'd survived it, learned from it, grown because of it. A year later, I was scrolling through Instagram when I saw Amber had posted an engagement photo. She and the blonde woman, her name was Rachel, I learned from the caption, were on a beach somewhere, both grinning at the camera, showing off matching rings. The caption read, she said, "Yes, here's to finally being brave enough to live my truth and finding someone who loves me for exactly who I am." The comments were full of congratulations and heart emojis and people celebrating their love. I stared at the photo for a long time, at Amber's genuine smile, at the way she leaned into Rachel, at the pure joy radiating from both of them. Then I liked the photo and typed out a comment. "Congratulations. Wishing you both all the happiness." She replied an hour later with a simple, "Thank you, Maya. That means a lot." And it did mean a lot to both of us. It meant we could both acknowledge what had happened between us, the pain and the complexity of it, and still wish each other well. It meant we'd both moved on. It meant the story had an ending that, while not happy in a traditional sense, was honest and real. I closed Instagram and looked over at Connor, who was making dinner in my kitchen, singing badly to some song on the radio. This was my life now. Simple, uncomplicated, real, and I was happy. Not because of any dramatic revelation or poetic justice. Not because Amber had gotten her comeuppance or learned some valuable lesson. Just happy because I'd survived something difficult and come out the other side stronger. Clearer about who I was and what I wanted. Sometimes that's all closure is. Not a big moment or a perfect ending. Just the slow realization that you're okay. That they're okay. That life goes on, messy and imperfect and beautiful in its own way. I never saw Amber in person again. We remained Instagram acquaintances, liking each other's posts occasionally, keeping a polite digital distance. She got married to Rachel in a small ceremony that looked beautiful from the photos. She seemed to be thriving, building a life that was authentically hers. And I was thriving too. In my own way, with my own life. The question, is my married female friend secretly in love with me, had been answered. She was. And it had complicated everything and changed both our lives in ways neither of us could have predicted. But we both survived. Both found our way to something better. And sometimes that's the best ending you can ask for. The story could end there. Probably should end there. But there's one more thing that happened that I think about sometimes. About 2 years after everything went down, I got a message from Derek. Just a simple, "Hey, how are you doing?" We exchanged a few messages, small talk, updates on our lives. He'd started dating someone new, a woman from his gym. Things were good. Then he said something that stuck with me. "I don't blame you anymore, for what happened with Amber. I did for a while, but my therapist helped me see that our marriage was broken long before you came into the picture. You didn't cause the problems. You just helped reveal them. I'm glad you're doing better." I wrote back. And honestly, I think the divorce was the best thing that could have happened to both of us. She's happy now. Actually happy. And I'm learning how to be happy too. We were just trying to force something that didn't fit. We chatted a bit more, then said goodbye. I doubt we'll talk again, but that conversation gave me something I didn't know I needed. Confirmation that everyone involved had survived. That the ending, painful as it was, had been necessary. Life is weird like that. You think you're in one story, a simple friendship, and suddenly you're in a completely different story. Questions about sexuality and identity and the end of a marriage. And there's no villain, no hero, just people trying their best and sometimes failing and sometimes hurting each other without meaning to. Amber wasn't wrong for falling for me. I wasn't wrong for not reciprocating. Derek wasn't wrong for being hurt. Rachel wasn't wrong for being the right person at the right time. We were all just humans fumbling through our lives trying to figure out who we are and what we want. And sometimes people come into your life to shake everything up, to make you question things, to force growth and change in ways that feel uncomfortable but end up being necessary. Amber was that person for me. And apparently I was that person for her. So if someone asks me now, is my married female friend secretly in love with me? I'd tell them to trust their instincts. Something feels off, it probably is. Have the hard conversation. Set boundaries. Don't wait for things to explode. But I'd also tell them to be kind, to remember that people's feelings, however inconvenient or complicated, are real and valid. That you can set boundaries without being cruel. That you can walk away without making someone feel like they're broken or wrong for feeling what they feel. And I'd tell them that the story doesn't end when the friendship ends. That both people keep living, keep growing, keep becoming more themselves. That sometimes the best thing you can do for someone you care about is let them go. Let them figure out their own path without you standing in the way. I think Amber would agree with that. I think she'd say our friendship, as brief and complicated as it was, helped her become the person she was always meant to be. And I'd say the same. So yeah, my married female friend was secretly in love with me, and it was messy and painful and complicated, but it was also real and honest in its own way. And ultimately, it led both of us somewhere better, even if we couldn't walk that path together. And now when I look back on it all, I mostly just feel grateful. Grateful for the friendship we had, however briefly. Grateful for the lessons I learned. Grateful that we both found our way to happiness, even if it looked nothing like either of us expected. That's life, I guess. Never quite what you expect. Always more complicated than it should be. But also, if you're lucky, full of moments of grace and growth and unexpected beauty. Connor is calling me from the kitchen. Dinner's ready. My real, uncomplicated, beautiful life is waiting for me.